Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. I hope you are all doing well and staying safe. Here is Mariam Shref, a petroleum engineer from Lebanon, and I would like to welcome you all to today's webinar, which is presented by a special and distinguished guest speaker, Dr. Elham Fadaly. Dr. Fadaly will be sharing with us today her journey from Egypt to postgraduate studies and research in Europe. So let me begin by introducing Dr. Fadaly. Dr. Fadaly is currently a research scientist and a laser integration engineer at Apple, Cupertino in the US. She obtained a PhD in applied physics with honors from Eindhoven University of Technology in Netherlands in 2021. Dr. Fadaly's research has won several international awards, among which the Breakthrough of the Year 2021 and 2020 in Physics from the Falling Walls Foundation in Berlin and Physics World magazine, respectively. Best Tech Idea in 2020 from Dutch Kijk magazine. She has been awarded the 2020 Young Researcher Award from the Institute of Physics Nanotechnology Journal in the United Kingdom and Ireland. Finally, Dr. Fadaly holds a joint master's in science with high honors in nanoscience and nanotechnology, with a specialization in nanoelectronics, class of 2015 from the Catholic University of Leuven in Belgium and the Chalmers University of Technology in Sweden. She obtained a Bachelor in Science in Electronics Engineering with the highest honors from the American University in Cairo, Egypt in 2013. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Fadaly. So welcome, doctor, and thank you for joining us. We are excited to hear from you, your postgraduate studies and international research experiences. And I'm sure that you are an inspiration to all young females who are tuning in. I would like to remind you, if you have any question related to today's presentation, please feel free to drop it down in the Q&A section, and we will try to answer as many questions as possible at the end of the session. Now, without any further ado, Dr. Fadaly, the mic is yours.
Thank you so much, Mariam, for the beautiful introduction. I'm really honored to be with you today. And I'm always very motivated to talk to my young colleagues who are now undergraduate students or our colleagues who are in the phase of their graduate studies during master's or PhD. Today, as much as I can, I'll try to share with you the details of my career journey from Egypt, passing through Europe, and until finally working in the US. I'll do my best to talk generically, such that I know that we're from different academic backgrounds, like your petroleum engineering. I'm more from the electronics engineering and physics background. So I'll omit all the scientific details, and I'll keep it very general and generic. And please feel free to ask about anything that you feel that it might benefit you in your career in the future, inshallah. And please, for our Arabic students, if you feel that there is something that you didn't understand from what I'm saying, just feel free to ask in Arabic in the comments, and I'll try to clarify it as much as I can. Yeah. So I'll start from the very beginning. Who am I? I'm sure Mariam did a great job in introducing me, but I'll just try to briefly flash it here in case that you couldn't follow what Mariam has been saying about my biography. So my name is Elham Fadaly. I am born in 1991. I'm from a city called Beni Suef in Egypt. It's actually a city far from Cairo, like 2 hours south to Cairo by train. This city is actually from Upper Egypt, so it's kind of a bit conservative city, not like Cairo and the big cities in Egypt. I'm currently working as a research scientist and a laser integration engineer at Apple in the US. And for my academic and research career before working for Apple, I entered the undergraduate, I entered the university for my undergraduate studies in 2008, and I graduated with Bachelor of Science in Electronics Engineering in Egypt. And then I did my master's starting from 2013, and after 2 years I finished it in Belgium and Sweden. And then I worked for a year and a half, more or less, as a research scientist in the Netherlands. And then I started my PhD in applied physics in the Netherlands again, but in a different university than the one that I worked as a research scientist in. And my PhD took 4 years from 2017 until last year. I graduated in April. And today I'll focus on the main factors that helped me to excel in my career and really go from a small city in Egypt, from Arabic governmental education, through getting full scholarships in Egypt and in Europe, and then getting a prestigious job in the US. So we will pass through these factors from academic excellence, the extracurricular activities that shaped my personality, and then the choice of the academic and research institutions for my graduate studies, and at the end, excellence in research and academia. So let's start from the very beginning. Before the university, I would like to talk more about my high school education, because this was really like the ignite that helped me start a really good career. So in high school, I was a ثانوية عامة student. For our Egyptian fellows who are listening to me now. ثانوية عامة is something very similar to any other degree in high school in every country. But it's actually, this is the governmental equivalent degree, like to the IG or the IB or the Abitur, the German Abitur. So I was actually the biology section, علمي علوم, in Bani Suef, and it was my education fully before the university was Arabic, and I was in a governmental school. And back then, I was really excelling in my academic like subjects in the ثانوية عامة, and I graduated with almost 100% GPA. It's 100.1% because we have the E level, the مستوى رفيع. And not only being excellent in the academia during ثانوية عامة, but also I really did great job with the extracurricular activities. I was really joining almost all the activities inside my school, like social, cultural, like the parliament model in the school. Like, just I'll try to list it in Arabic or so, like الأنشطة الاجتماعية الثقافية البرلمان المدرسي الإذاعة الصحافة المدرسية inside school. And also I was an athlete. I was competing on a professional level at the national competitions in Egypt as a hurdler for athletics. كنت بلعب عدو وحواجز في لعبة ألعاب القوة، وبتسابق على مستوى البطولات الجمهورية. And I was volunteering in also other activities outside the school, like the Egyptian Red Crescent, الهلال الأحمر المصري. These extracurricular activities really gave me a different dimensions for my personality. It was always like broadening my horizon. I was always like connecting with different people, different than my friends and colleagues who were at the school. So I really had to do like a balance between my academic excellence in high school and also doing the extracurricular activities, and make a bit of like recharging my energy and doing a bit of switch from just like studying the whole day for my high school. And all of that gave me the opportunity to get a full scholarship in the American University in Cairo to study for my bachelor studies. So I got a scholarship called Leadership for Education Development. It was called a LEAD program, and it was a full scholarship funded by the USAID in Egypt. You might think like, okay, how did you get this full scholarship? Did you apply for it, or you were granted because maybe you were among the top students in your governorate or top students in Egypt? Actually, I applied for this scholarship myself because during high school, as I was excelling in my academic scores and doing extracurricular activities, I used to hunt for opportunities. okay, I was still very young, being like 15 years or 16 years old, still like, and being in Beni Suef, which is quite closed city with very limited opportunities and very limited facilities in my city. But still, I learned it from the extracurricular activities and my mentors and my teachers that there are lots of opportunities that I can pursue for the university. So I learned about this scholarship, and then I started to apply for it. And what helped me qualify for such a scholarship, as you can see from the name, Leadership for Educational Development, it was not only my academic excellence or getting almost 100% GPA in high school. No, actually, it was the extracurricular activities that gave me the post and a big plus when I applied with my resume, because actually the GPA required for this scholarship was not so high back then. It was, they needed only 85% and above, but they actually required to be like a leader, a student with leadership skills, with demonstrated abilities and being engaged in the community development and volunteering activities and so on. So that's why I would like to shed the light that being academically excellent sometimes is not enough if you would like to pursue certain scholarships or fellowships. And the extracurricular activities can really shape your personality and give you an edge over your colleagues who are applying for the same scholarship. So you might think like, okay, Ilham, how did you do it? Like a girl from Upper Egypt, from a very small city with very limited facilities and maybe underprivileged opportunities, made this jump from Beni Suef to the American University in Cairo, which is quite open, diverse, international environment. Like what kind of challenges I faced and how did I pass through that? The first challenge, actually, if you have and noticed at the very beginning, I said that during my high school ثانوية عامة, I was in the biology section. So I was علمي علوم. So I was supposed to go to the medical sciences faculty. So actually, I was assigned to the medicine faculty, كلية طب بشري. And in AUC, I chose to be an engineering student. I chose to enroll in the electronics engineering. So it was super tough that I've never studied the mathematics too, like the calculus, the dynamics, statics, and so on before. And I had to really go to an engineering major. So it was a big jump, and I really had to study hard what I've missed in ثانوية عامة and my high school to make up for the switch and be able to catch up with my colleagues at AUC. And you might think like, how is it possible to go from medicine to engineering? At AUC and the foreign universities, there is no really distinction if you come from high school with biology section or mathematics section, as long as you can fulfill the requirements at the first year at the university. They don't mind if you can make the switch if you get the required GPA and you fulfill the courses. So the first thing was switching from medical sciences to engineering. So it was super academically challenging that I have to study what all my colleagues are studying at the same time. I had to really make up for the basics that I've missed during high school in the different mathematics subjects. The second major challenge was the language. All my education before university was in Arabic. So imagine like really suddenly entering AUC and I had to talk the whole day in English, read super fast in English, and also listening to professors who are, most of them were foreigners, talking in English with different accent, and also my vocabulary back then was still quite poor. I mean, I've never talked in English in my life continuously the whole day, and also studying with it, like with the different engineering and scientific terms that I even don't know, and also I had to make conversations with my professors and my colleagues in English. And then so having this switch from a small city going to AUC, as we said, a diverse, open, international, and also a different socioeconomic community, it was still like I was struggling a bit with like the self-confidence in such community, how to be that confident with really excelling students around you who are perfect, like talking perfect English with really good accent, either American or British accent, with really like international education with IG or IB or the German Abitur and so on. And you're really coming from ثانوية عامة, from Arabic governmental schools. So it was a bit shaking at the very beginning during the first few years in the university. Also, holding to one's identity and values in such a very dynamic, open community. Like, who am I? Like, who I want to really hold to. So, because like you're meeting different people from different backgrounds, so you can easily follow the flow or follow the crowd if you are not aware of your values and identities. Coming to the more technical part or the academic part, also the presentation skills in our Arabic governmental educational system, we are not used to talking about ourselves and presenting our ideas in a clear, logical flow, and also doing that in English. So it was really, really a big struggle for me during presenting our projects during the different subjects during the 5 years of the university. Also the communication skills. So imagine how, like, we never learned how to open a conversation in a different language with people, how to steer the conversation, how to steer the discussion, how can you do the negotiation and persuasion with different people, like your professors or your colleagues. And from a career point of view, really going from, like, I had a very clear view of what I want to do when I got assigned to a medicine school based on my score in ثانوية عامة. So I had a clear idea that, okay, I'm going to the medicine school and I'm going to be a doctor. So I'm almost knowing where I'm heading to. And suddenly making this switch, I had sort of an unclear career path. I went to electronics engineering because, okay, I loved mathematics and physics, as well as I loved biology. So I really didn't have a big problem switching to electronics engineering from medicine, but still I didn't have an idea what can I do in electronics engineering other than working in the big companies in Egypt, like Vodafone or Movinil or Etisalat or so, like just the big companies that we all know, but I really didn't know what kind of a career path I can pursue. I didn't know also how can I find opportunities. I'm not from Cairo. I never lived in it. I don't know how can I approach, for example, an opportunity in a company, or if I want to do graduate studies, how can I start, from where I can start. All of that were really, really the big challenges I faced during that stage. So in 2008, I entered AUC and I faced all these challenges, and one by one I started really to sketch like all my fears, like really a pen and a paper, and I sketched all the challenges I've been facing, and I started to tackle them one by one, starting from the language part. Okay, I started to see, like, where am I struggling? First of all, like at the very beginning, as I said, probably the scientific terms. Then I started really to, like, going to each and every like a lecture I take, and I write down and I list all the scientific terms that I cannot understand, and I try to make the analogy or the transition from Arabic to English. And then I started to see where am I missing, what am I missing during high school from the different subjects that I didn't study, like the calculus or the dynamics, statics, and so on. And I started to study it. I started to allocate certain time during my day to study these subjects. So it was all like I had to list all the challenging part, the hardships I'm facing, as well as I started to list my goals, what I want to achieve after 5 years from graduation, after graduation from AUC. So from day one, I really knew that I wanted to excel in my academia. I wanted to graduate with summa cum laude, which is equivalent to the highest honors, or مرتبة الشرف امتياز مع مرتبة الشرف from our national university. So I was really aiming big. So I wanted to excel with a very high GPA. And at the same time, I wanted to master the basic concepts of electronics engineering. I really wanted to deeply understand what I'm studying because I wanted to be really a good engineer. I didn't want to just get any job after graduation. I wanted to be the really excellent expert engineer in my field when I graduate, where I'm working. Okay, back then I didn't know where I'm working at the very beginning, but I knew that I wanted to excel where I am. So I listed my goals. I want to excel with a high GPA. I wanted to understand deeply what I am studying. So I wanted to master the basic concepts of the different subjects. And also I wanted to explore as much as I can from the different career paths during the university. And knowing that I wanted to explore the different career paths, I started to talk to each and every single person I can talk to. I started to talk to my colleagues around me. Okay, what are you dreaming of? What is your plan? And talking to my colleagues helped me because, of course, my colleagues are talking to their parents, are talking to the other professors, are talking to their relatives, their circles. And every one of us has a different circle, and every circle has a different insight and a different perspective. So as much as I talk to people, the more I can gather from ideas and opportunities as much as I can. And then I started to talk to my professors really from day one. I started to ask, what can I do to excel? What can I try? Which opportunities I can pursue or seek to get better and better and clearer idea of what I want to do. In addition, I started to keep an eye on the opportunities. So, okay, I got a full scholarship to enter the American University in Cairo, but still, also I wanted to study abroad during my undergraduate studies. So I knew at AUC there were opportunities to get other scholarships, like to study a semester or two quarters abroad in the US. If you excel in your academic standing during the first 3 years. So as a junior student, after you complete nearly 3 years from engineering, from the start of your undergraduate studies, you can be granted another scholarship to study at the US. So from day one, from talking to people, I heard about these opportunities. Then I started to keep an eye that I want to study at the US, I want to travel, and I want to get this opportunity. So I kept an eye on my GPA, but also I knew that there was another condition to get such a scholarship. It was not only the academic excellence, but also I had to excel in the activities, because we had, in addition to the GPA, we had something called leadership potential index, that I have to show leadership by engaging in activities, engaging in community development, like communities and associations, and show that by really getting the opportunity to work in these activities. So I had to balance my excellent academic standing with also my engagement in the extracurricular activities and showing the leadership skills to get such an opportunity. And indeed, alhamdulillah, after 3 years, I got an exchange program scholarship for the top achieving students based on the academic GPA, as we said, and the leadership potential for the activities. And then I started, and then I traveled to the US to study 2 quarters, which is equivalent for a semester. It's 6 months in Drexel University in Pennsylvania in the US. So this was really an excellent opportunity and an eye-opening for me. It's a very different environment, different culture, different country. So it was really a different scope. I learned a lot. So it's a top university in my field, in the electronics engineering. And then I started to engage with international students, learn a lot, travel around, learn about the American culture, and so on. So it was really, really a great experience to experience back then as 19 years old a student. So just to summarize what helped me to get all these excellent scholarships and opportunities, as we said, the academic excellence. So I had to really focus on the basic concepts and understanding. So it was not just I want to get high grades by memorizing or so. No, I really wanted to do to get high grades and excel in my academic standing by focusing on the basic concepts, and I really have a deep understanding of what I'm studying. The extracurricular activities for our Egyptian students, probably you are aware. So I was volunteering in Alashani Baladi Association, AYB. I was also volunteering in the United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, in Nairobi, in Kenya. So it was so I was not based in Nairobi, but I was elected as a youth representative for the African continent for 2 years for the UNEP. So I was based in Egypt, and I had to represent Africa in the ministerial meetings and the international conferences and forums across the whole world. So I really traveled a lot in Africa, Asia, and Europe to represent the African youth. I also was volunteering during my undergraduate studies in the Red Crescent, the Al-Hilal Al-Ahmar Al-Masri, and I was traveling to their international camps. So I was the Egyptian representative in Turkey, for example, in 2009 back then. So all this traveling abroad, really, it strengthened my language. So I had to talk English all the time. So this was the part where I was working on my language, my conversation skills, getting more and more confident about presenting myself, presenting my culture, my ideas, connecting with different people in international environment. And this helped me tackle the challenges that I was talking about at the very beginning. And the third part that I was focusing on, as I told you, was the career exploration. So during the regular semesters, I was doing my best to study as much as I can to get high GPA. And in the summer vacation, I was doing internships. So at every summer during university, I made an internship. And as much as I can, I made these internships in different fields. So as an electronics engineering student, for example, my first internship, I did it as a software developer. Just to explore what kind of career I can do. Is it in the software part, the programming part? Is it in the devices part, and so on? So I made 4 internships during my university. And also, I made one research internship, because also back then I didn't know, okay, do I want to work in a company after I graduate, or I would like to continue my graduate studies and do research during the master's and PhD, and then pursue an academic career at the end, like Dr. Ahmed Algarhy, for example, as a university professor. I also made, maybe it was a bold choice back then, but also I worked as a part-time engineer during my last year of the engineering faculty. So at the very end, I was just working on my graduation project with a few subjects. So I decided to start working early on before graduation as a part-time engineer, just to experience the idea of working on a company before I decide if I want to work for a company or pursue a research career. And in addition to internships and the part-time job that I worked on, I was visiting on a regular basis the career fairs. So I think nowadays, and all Egyptian universities, and even outside the universities in different governorates in Egypt or different cities, and I think in all countries, from our colleagues who are not Egyptians, you can see organized career fairs where you can meet representatives from different companies and even different international universities who are exhibiting and explaining the opportunities you can find there. So I was really visiting these fairs on a regular basis and have an eye on the required skills on the market. What is like the new required skills in this market? What are the hot topics, what are the hot jobs, and so on, such that I can equip myself early on before graduation and be ready on time. And what I really learned during that stage, that networking networking among diverse circles, it's very important. It's really like knowing different people can get you like various opportunities in the future. So for example, today is an excellent opportunity for me to get to know Mariam and Dr. Ahmed Algarhy. So in the future, if there's an opportunity that suits Elham, probably Dr. Ahmed or Mariam can forward it to Elham, and so on. So imagine if you have like a grown network and a diverse network, then you will have even better reach for great opportunities in the future. And also the career planning. So as I said, I was not sure if I want to work in a company or in a research and academic a career. So as much as I did internships and a part-time job, I also started at the very last year when I was nearly sure, after I did multiple internships in companies and a part-time job, at the very end, I made up my mind that I would like to pursue a research career and do my master's and PhD. So I started preparing for the grad school. So I started to study for the TOEFL. Of course, you have the choice between TOEFL and IELTS, and I chose back then the TOEFL, and also preparing for the GRE for the engineering and science degrees like a year before. And then when I started to really prepare like all these different exams and start working on my motivation letter or personal statement, looking for the different universities I can apply for, do I want to study in the US, in Europe, and so on. So it was kind of really like a full research plan to decide on which grad school. And having done that early on, a year before my graduation, helped me to really land an opportunity for my master's even before I graduate. So I really had my acceptance letter from the master's before I graduate from AUC. So we can summarize the undergraduate stage as a stage of discovering possibilities and exploring the different pathways. So you really have a golden opportunity of 5 years of engineering to explore the different opportunities, the different pathways as much as you can. And you really have a gold mine from colleagues, professors, facilities at the universities. For example, at AUC, we had a career center or a career office where we go consult professionals about how to write a CV, how to write a motivation letter or a personal statement. And I know that now our national Egyptian universities, for example, started to have these career centers like in Cairo University and Ain Shams. And actually, you guys nowadays have a golden opportunity with the LinkedIn and the social media where you have a better reach for professionals and really good people in the field where you can take their advice or even be inspired by their journeys and get to know about more opportunities from them. So the skills that I really learned a lot during this stage: teamwork during the projects we have been working on during our engineering like courses, commitment, being committed to your goals, like the academic excellence, that I want to excel, be a professional engineer, a smart one. Like really, the commitment was one of the skills that I learned a lot during these 5 years. Being highly intellectual, how to open a conversation, how to be aware of what's going on around you in the world, how to get like talk or engage in a conversation at in different topics other than your academic field. Being open-minded with people from different backgrounds, different values, different cultures than you. Like, and this was really done great at AUC in such a dynamic international environment. The consistency and perseverance, how to be consistently like excelling in your field. So as I said, I was academically excellent from high school and then excelling in the extracurricular activities. So I got scholarship to enter AUC, and then I was very consistent in my performance and I got another scholarship and so on. During the undergraduate stage in the engineering school, I really valued the skills that I acquired during this stage. Teamwork during the projects we were working on in the different subjects, the commitment to goals, commitment to deliver the assignments, the projects on time, meeting deadlines. These are really, really important in your career. Working as an engineer in a company or even as an independent researcher when you do your master's and PhD, and later on if you work on an academic or a research position in the university. Being highly intellectual, and to get in a conversation in diverse topics other than your academic field. If you're talking in politics, in music, in art, so you can really engage in such conversations. Being open-minded, be respectful when you're talking to different people than you, people from different backgrounds, from different religions, from different cultures, from different countries. Then this open-mindedness can really help you a lot in your future. The consistency, being consistently excellent in your academic standing, and your engagement in the extracurricular activities. All right. So, and the last skill that I wanted to talk about that I really learned a lot and I mastered during my undergraduate studies was the communication skills and working a lot on my language. So, after graduation, I can really hold a long conversation in English without being shy to make mistakes or really had to memorize like sentences to say in a presentation or so. And my advice during this stage, as I said, network as much as you can, make diverse circles inside university and outside university with different people from different levels, seek mentorship from experts in your field, from your professors or other people that you value during your field. Know the skills for the future market, whatever market you're seeking. For example, if you're in petroleum engineering and you want to work in a company, what are the different fields that are open for you in such field? Companies in Egypt, for example, or companies abroad, what are the different fields open for you? What are the skills required for each and every single field, such that you can start equipping yourself already early on during your undergraduate stage, and you don't have to wait to graduate and you don't have to waste time. Keep an eye on opportunities. So after that, I graduated from AUC with summa cum laude. As I said, it was equivalent to امتياز مع مرتبة الشرف العليا from our national university. So the excellent grade at AUC or on the American system, it has 3 different grades. So like excellent with the summa cum laude, magna cum laude, or the cum laude, it's just different distinction from being excellent. So as I said, with all these opportunities that I pursued, internships, the different scholarships, the high GPA and the excellent academic standing qualified me to get a full scholarship, Erasmus Mundus scholarship from the European Commission. And actually it was granted only to 5 students. So imagine that among 200 students around the whole world that you are competing, like as an Egyptian student, competing with excellent students from Europe, from the US, from around the whole world, and they are only choosing 5 students for this scholarship. So alhamdulillah, I was selected among those 5 to study my Masters of Nanoscience and Nanotechnology. So yeah, it was a dual master's degree in the nanoscience and nanotechnology, and I chose the nanoelectronics specialization. So during electronics engineering and undergraduate, it's more of a general study. So you're studying almost everything in that field. And then I started to narrow it down more towards the nanoelectronics part during my master's. And I'm not really digging deeper here because all the learnings and the skills that I carried with me from the undergraduate studies, I almost focused also still on it during the masters, and I capitalized on them. But during that stage in Belgium and in Sweden, I was already on a good base. I have good standing in the English language. I can present myself, make really good conversations. I can read properly, write properly papers, and then I graduated again with magna cum laude. It was like امتياز مع مرتبة الشرف الممتازة from those 2 universities. And then during my master's, again, I always was kind of preparing myself early. So a year before ending my master's. So the master's is 2 years in Europe, or actually my degree was 2 years. So after I finished the first year, I started to look for opportunities for PhD. So again, also, you don't have only one field or one road or one topic in the PhD. It's endless choices or an endless pool of opportunities during the PhD. So I had to decide. So again, I started to prepare myself a year before and look for opportunities. And then I started to pursue my PhD, or actually, I started just to work at the very beginning as a research scientist in Delft University of Technology at the very beginning before starting really my formal PhD. And back then, I chose to work on the quantum computing topic. And then I made a switch to the optoelectronics field when I started my formal PhD at Eindhoven University of Technology, still in the Netherlands. And here I made a bit of a shift from the engineering part and the nanoelectronic devices, and I started to focus on the physics of semiconductor materials, because I was really fond of really working as an experimentalist, really working by my hands in experiments in a lab. And after knowing myself, exploring my potential, exploring the different opportunities, I knew that probably I'm not a person who's really doing modeling or simulation all day, working on a laptop in an office. I was kind of a person who's really trying to explore different phenomena, working on experiments in a lab. And because I explored these opportunities early on during my undergraduate studies, as I said, as I told you, I did a research internship and I found myself in it, and also in the different internships. Then I managed to decide early on what I like during my PhD. And Alhamdulillah, during these 5 years, I really did great. And again, in every stage, as I told you, I list my goals and I list or write an action plan. How do I want to achieve these goals? So after these 4 years, or let's say with the combined research part, it was 5 years and a half, I graduated again with a cum laude. And actually, a cum laude, or martabat al-sharaf in the Netherlands, it's kind of a rare distinction you get. So usually people just graduate with the PhD degree, but in the Netherlands, only top 5% students graduate with the cum laude. So during my PhD, actually, how did I choose the university or the research group? My criteria was, as in the master's as well, and I forgot to say that, I wanted a top school in my field. So really good ranking or high, or let's say top 50 universities worldwide. I also made up my mind that I would like to study in Europe, and I made this preference over the US and Canada, just because I wanted to be close to Egypt, because I have some family commitments. So this is also part of the equation that you need to think. Which location, what are your other commitments that you need to fulfill during that stage? So I chose in Europe, I chose the different universities I studied in during my master's and PhD based on their academic ranking, and also the excellence in the specializations that I want to study in these universities. Also the diverse collaborations and the how renowned is the research group and the professor I'm going to work on, the cooperation during the group. So in my PhD, I worked in a group or a topic with diverse collaborations with universities and research institutes, like in Germany, and Austria, and the US, and the United Kingdom, and Switzerland, and so on. So during this stage, I wanted to hold to my academic excellence, as I said before. Again, also the summer internships, still during your master's and PhD, you should also keep working on summer internships in companies, again, because also in research, you can still do research in companies, and you can also still work in companies or corporates, and you don't have to work at universities. So again, you need to keep exploring your career path during your postgraduate studies. Networking, again, and here there was extra skills I had to learn and master during this stage, which is publishing scientific papers, so in high impact factor journals. And this is very important for a tenured academic and research career. also attending conferences and workshops to present your research work as a presentation, oral presentation, or a poster. And a plus, also teaching courses and supervising students, especially if you would like to pursue a teaching career. So alhamdulillah, during that stage, and this was also really like, if I didn't make that plan from day one, probably I would have missed most of what I wanted to achieve. So I graduated with my master's and PhD with high distinction. So I was having a clear eye on which distinctions I would like to get, how can I achieve this distinction, like how many hours I need to study, which books or references I need to work from, like which assignments, which projects. Like really, I had to put a good plan to get these distinctions. I published in total 6 papers. It was almost a paper per year during my PhD. I attended nearly 19 conferences. Probably it's an overrated number, especially like if it includes a lot of travel. So I attended these conferences in different European countries, in the US, on Australia, Japan, China, and I presented my work like 11 times and an oral presentations and 2 posters. But I really had an eye on the important conferences in my field, and attending the sessions and connecting with the top researchers and professors from the field really give me a wide eye on what is this field, what are the different opportunities in it, what are the latest technologies, the latest breakthroughs and hot research topics, and so on. And also I got like a patent out of my PhD work, and alhamdulillah, I was awarded 5 awards and prizes out of my work. Some of these awards were just I was granted and I didn't apply for it, and also other prizes and awards I applied for it myself. And this is one of the things that you need to keep an eye on it. Always apply for awards, prizes, fellowships, internships, trainings, all these stuff that you apply for or you get awarded. It really posts your CV, and it gives a weight to your portfolio, because you're not competing anymore on a national level with your colleagues, for example, in Egypt or Lebanon or your country. You're really competing on an international level with excellent, smart students everywhere. So you really have to be up to the competition level and post your portfolio as much as I can with the different items. Is it papers or awards or prizes or conferences or trainings or traveling experience abroad, and so on. So again, in addition to the skills I acquired during my undergraduate studies, during my master's, after the PhD, I learned a lot from the collaboration from the different research groups. So during my PhD, I had to collaborate with theoreticians, experimentalists like me, experimentalists from optical physics, from material science, from electronics, engineering, from mathematics, and so on. And I had to know how to reach a middle ground and find the proper language to collaborate and talk to those people from different backgrounds. I learned a lot about the analysis and the problem solving, and these are really, really critical skills for researchers. Scientific written and oral communication, how to write proper academic and scientific papers, how to communicate that in presentations and conferences and workshops. Integrity and accountability, how to write from credible sources, how to get your information from trustworthy sources and not just from a Wikipedia page. Being organized person, so those organizational and leadership skills, how to be owning your research project, how to make a plan for it, how to lead your group, especially if you are a senior PhD researcher, for example. You start to supervise master's students and bachelor students during their graduation projects. Supervision, teaching, research and information management, ownership, how to own your project, how to be accountable for the results and for the decisions you take. And in addition to all of that, the mental toughness and the mental agility, how to be tough because you will work under a lot of pressure. You will fail a lot during experiments, and you will have failing ideas, and you have to really move on quickly, be flexible, and be tough on facing these failures until you make a big success out of it. So again, in addition to these skills, I keep repeating networking, mentorship, keeping an eye on skills for future market, and an eye on opportunities is really, really important. So finally, the take-home message that I would like all of you to carry after all what I've said. I know that I talked a lot, but I'll try to be brief about these take-home messages. First of all, your physical, mental, psychological health is really a priority. I've talked a lot that you have to be academically excellent, you have to work on internships, activities, and so on. So probably after you've heard me, like, oh, come on, I'm not going to sleep after what Elham said. It's like, no, your health is really a priority. Your family, your values are always a priority before everything. After you have took care of yourself, your family, your values, then you start on deciding on your own legacy. What do you want to have? What do you want your legacy to look like? Which like basma you want to leave in your community, among your colleagues, and worldwide even. When I say, for example, Mariam, what I want to Mariam to be like reminding, like what the name of Mariam reminding people. Is it like the academic excellence? She's really a great person. She's an amazing engineer. She's like, which legacy you want to leave in your community? Setting your short-term and long-term goals is really, really important. And these goals are not only career or academic goals, but also on the social level. You have to really balance your career and your social life. Set a smart plan, really like a specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-lined a plan to achieve these goals. We are not just dreaming. So like you can really dream all the day. I want to be the next Ahmed Zuwail. I want to take the Nobel Prize. I want to work in the biggest amazing company in the US or so. Like, no, really put an action plan. How do you want to achieve these goals? Revisit and refine your goals and plans on a regular basis, because what you dream of at the first year of college might change of the second year, and might even change your mind completely and your plans at the end of your university. So keep revisiting your goals and refining it, because as we grow up and as we mature, we change our focus and our plans. Grow your network and connect with diverse people. So for example, my network is like, I have a lot of colleagues in petroleum engineering and physics, in art, in music, in Arabic language, for example, and so on. You will learn a lot from each and every single person, and it doesn't have to be in your career or your field. Seek mentorship from your senior colleagues and professors and supervisors, family members, fathers, mothers, and so on. Always people who have like kind of really good standing in their career. They can always cut your journey short with giving advices. You don't really have to work from scratch, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So they can really cut the way short for you during mentorship. Keep an eye on opportunities for growth personally and technically. So as much as you're taking care of your academic excellence and academic standing, you have to focus on your personality, on your interpersonal skills. Pay attention to your electronic footprint. Nowadays, we live in the era of the social media and the different social platforms. Be careful on what you are posting about yourself. Because, for example, in the future, if I'm a recruiter, for example, in a company, first thing, when I have a CV, for example, or I'm a university professor and I'm getting application from a master's student or PhD student, I'll look him or her up in ResearchGate and LinkedIn, probably Facebook or Twitter or so. So, for example, if I'm posting hate speech or really bad posts or so, probably I don't want this person as a member of my team, and so on. So really be careful about that, and make sure to have a strong profile on LinkedIn. It can help you a lot for the reach for better opportunity. And the last message I want you to carry on from what I am saying, after all the good opportunities and an amazing skills and an amazing things that happen in your life, make sure to pay it forward to other people. Teach other people about what you have learned, the opportunities, pass it on to your colleagues, your sisters, brothers, and the different communities. Even it can reach worldwide. This, like, the loop will keep continuing. For example, as Dr. Ahmed and Mariam has been doing with me today, so they asked me to give this webinar today. So this is kind of paying it forward to cut the way short for our fellow colleagues in the future. And you can do that by volunteering, for example, for community development or in your field, and so on. So pay it forward and don't make it stop at you. And with that, I've reached the end of my talk today, and I'm really sorry if I talked so long. And I would be really happy to receive your questions.
Thank you, Dr. Fadaly. We really enjoyed hearing your success story. We have few questions before ending our webinar today.
Yeah, please.
So have you faced any extra challenge because you are a female?
Yes, I must say it was not easy at all. Actually, the first hardships I had was in Egypt itself, because it's not really common as a girl to travel from Upper Egypt and Beni Suef, which is really small conservative community, to travel, first of all, to travel to study at the AUC, and also just stay alone in Cairo. And later on, when I wanted to study abroad, it was not really easy to convince family members and even surrounding people that I will study abroad in Europe or the US. So this was the first part. And it's all because I'm female. But alhamdulillah, because you're showing them that you are a trustworthy person, you have a strong personality, and you really can really pass through all the hardships that you can face abroad, and you can be up to the responsibility. Alhamdulillah, it passed through. And when I traveled abroad, as you all know, it's not easy at all to find a lot of females in our fields. So, and especially in the difficult fields, for example, like in petroleum engineering, how many females you can find, and in physics and engineering and so on. But the great thing, if you set a really good example as a female, then they start trust you, and then they start to recruit more and more. So we really need more and more of excellent female examples in the future to really give a space for new females to enter these difficult fields.
I totally agree with you, and you are a great example, and of course you will be like a model for the future as a female scientist.
Thank you.
Another question is that the lead scholarship that you have mentioned at the AUC, is it open for international students? Like, can Algerians apply, or it's only for Egyptians?
Yeah. Okay. So I must say that the lead scholarship now, it's not valid anymore, so it's not running anymore. But I must say that how I knew about this scholarship, it's from the website of the university at AUC and different universities. So yes, in Egypt, for example, at the American University of Cairo, there are lots of scholarships for our fellow Arab students, especially for Arab students. Especially, I can name a few of them. So Tomorrow's Leaders scholarship. These are from for Arab students, especially from Lebanon, Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco, and North African Arab countries or so. So we had a lot of Arab students from the Tomorrow's Leaders, and this is the equivalent of the LEAD program nowadays. And there are a lot of other scholarships, undergraduate scholarships on the website. So just type undergraduate scholarships, and you can see the different categories, because there are certain categories for academic merit-based, or if you are, for example, an athlete and you have sports medals or championships or so, there are also different scholarships for that. And there are different type of scholarships which are sponsored from companies and businessmen. So paying attention to these scholarships. And also, for example, like in petroleum engineering or so, the big companies are sponsoring many of these opportunities like Shell, BP, and so on.
Thank you. And we have also a question that what is your advice for someone who started late, and what should he or she do to like he had a gap and he want to return to academia? So
thank you so much for this excellent question, whoever asked this question. I would say there is nothing called late. Maybe we will say late like in comparison to just the conventional standing that you really are studying regularly or so. So if you had a gap, don't worry. Just do as much as you can to have an excellent academic standing. And as I said, pursue all the opportunities that you can engage in, like the internships, trainings, workshops, as much as you can. So don't worry, it's all counted based on your graduation years. So when did you graduate as a fresh graduate? How many years of experience you had? I'm really grateful that nowadays people do not really look at age. They really look at your experience. I know that in some certain cases, but at least in my years of career, I've never seen someone judge it based on his age or the gap. As long as you have a clear explanation why you had this gap and you made up for this gap by really having a good standing in your career and your academia, people understand that very well. This gap can be for like health issues, for family commitments, for whatever reason. So don't worry, just focus on what you want to achieve, and to fast forward this gap and make up for it. As I said, keep asking your professors and your senior colleagues, how can you move faster? Because they can really cut the way short for you by giving you advices and also share opportunities that you might not reach easily if you didn't ask around.
thank you. So whoever asked the question, you are never late. So before we end the webinar, so what advice do you want to give for high school students and university students?
Okay, the main advice I would like to say that if you look at me, a girl from Arabic governmental education from Egypt with really limited reach to opportunities in Bani Suef, there is always hope. The main thing that will get you to reach to your dreams and even reach the stars is that try as much as you can, work hard as much as you can, seek opportunities. Do not sit still. Really, like, try as much as you can and work very hard. Keep an eye on the opportunities. Especially, we are in an era nowadays that's moving super fast. You have to keep your eye. What are the new skills for the this era? What are the skills for the market that you want to enter? And always have hope. You're never too late. Do not say that, oh, like, I will never reach this goal because there are other smart people who are competing with me. Always remember how Elham was there in Bani Suef, and she never thought that she will ever graduate with a PhD or even do a PhD. She never thought that she will take all these international prizes, and never thought that she will work at Apple. I must tell you that when I was undergraduate students, when I was even thinking that, okay, I'm an electronics engineer, best electronics companies, of course, in the world, Apple is among them. I thought, oh, I will never, ever even think of applying there because it's super hard for someone like me even to get the CV passed. So those people will never look at my CV. So when I look at where I am nowadays, alhamdulillah, I tell myself nothing is impossible. So keep it in front of your eyes. If you really want something, go grab it. And if you have a clear goal and a clear dream, draw the path towards it.
Thank you, Dr. Fadali, for your time. And we really enjoyed hearing from you the inspiring success story. It was pleasure having you, and we also look forward to having you in our future events. Now, I hope you all enjoyed the webinar and learned new things today. And now we conclude the session. So I hope you have a nice rest of the day and stay safe.
Thank you so much, Mariam, for your great moderation today for the webinar. And thank you so much for everyone who've attended and asked really good questions. And thanks a lot, Dr. Ahmed Algarhy, for giving me the opportunity to talk to all of you today.